This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous. Your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here. You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like a child when you see me standing here. Now I'm standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside.
Place to Be Nation, welcome to another episode of Extreme Resurrection. I'm James Gruenberg. Fans, tonight we do have to say goodbye for a little while. My co-host partner, Michael Cook. Things have come up for Michael Cook and he has bowed out to Extreme Resurrection. But have no fear. In the nick of time, I picked up a new extremist to the podcast, and he is Mr. Steve Riddle. You can find Steve all over the Place to Be pop feed. Steve, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Glad to be back again. And it's unfortunate there for Mike, but hopefully I'll be able to fill his shoes as the co-host.
Yep. So the last time, Steve, we watched actually and covered ECW's disastrous December to Dismember. And let's recap. We have a new ECW heavyweight champion, and it's Bobby Lashley. What did you think of Bobby Lashley winning the Elimination Chamber?
I mean, it was what it was. I mean, they clearly saw him as the guy to kind of lead that brand into 2007 as the champion, and it was just. The match itself was fine. I thought he looked pretty strong in there. Looked really dominant, taking out Big Show and kind of put that final nail in the coffin almost of what this brand was originally supposed to be when it started right after a one-night stand.
Yes, indeed. And there's going to be a lot of new two changes within the following weeks we're covering. So let's dive right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, this is ECW December 5th, 2006. We're live in Charleston, South Carolina. We have a recap of the Extreme Elimination Chamber from December to Dismember. And like we said off the bat, Bobby Lashley was victorious on that Sunday as he defeated Tess, RVD, CM Punk, Hardcore Holly, and the Big Show in the Extreme Elimination Chamber. Now we cut to a promo with a very upset, puffy-eyed Paul Heyman. And this was a pre-recorded promo on the WWE.com website. And Paul Heyman cuts a promo and says, the Big Show brought ECW to great heights, and he will get his rematch tonight as well. I mean, he was the champion of ECW in 2006. I don't know how far back Paul was going. Hopefully he wasn't saying that ECW Big Show was the face of ECW in the 90s, because that would have been bad if he was thinking that.
No, I think he was just referencing since they've been back on since after One Night Stand, and I'm torn on the promo. I mean, It was a fine promo by Paul, like I said, putting Big Show over, but just the crying and just the glad-handedness just felt a little much. Like I think you could tell just by the tone of his voice that he just wanted to get the hell out of there. And I mean, even by at the end of the promo where he's just like, I'm done with this. Like I think that was almost a little bit like shooty there. Like he clearly was done with everything.
I thought he was kind of like shooting a little bit more than like a work shoot style promo. Like I thought the tears and everything were like, okay, he's sad the Big Show's lost, but I also thought that he was really just sad about, the way things ended between him and Vince. And they make Joey Styles and Taz also make reference that Paul Heyman was dismissed by Vince McMahon as well. So I thought the tears were that like he was upset also that it came to this bad blood between him and Vince McMahon as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never really would have thought of that, but yeah, I mean, it's like you said, this vision he had when it started is completely off, not what it is now. So I think he just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah. So he said Paul does say that he's done and he leaves. So tonight we will get the Big Show versus Bobby Lashley one more time for the ECW title as Big Show invokes his rematch clause. And on a further note, that is the last time that Paul Heyman is in ECW and WWE until 2012. So it takes a while for them to, reconcile and for Paul to come back. 6 years seems like the longest time that Paul Heyman has been away. He's been sent home, like he's been gone for a couple of months, after like screwing something else up. But this was really the final nail in the coffin. And I think he goes to TNA in 2010 when they do ECW. I don't think he was there, but they made reference to him in TNA when they were doing the ECW guys coming in for hardcore justice when they were doing ECW versus TNA. So a 6-year stretch.
Yeah, it's a long time, and like you said, there's all those rumors that he was going to go elsewhere, and you would only hear about him when he was, I think it was like writing articles for the Sun, and anytime something about Brock came up, and it was a shock because he had a really good run since he debuted in 2001, when he was a commentator and then acting as a manager and also working behind the scenes, and he was a big creative force behind a lot of things, with WWE. I mean, we don't get the SmackDown 6 without him. I mean, that's how crucial he was to the company. And I know for me, like a lot of people, never expected that he would come back when he did. And the crazy part is, like, since he's been back in 2012, he's been around longer now than his initial run, at this time, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, and even when Paul Heyman left, and came back, he didn't miss a beat. He still had his voice and being the advocate and still cutting all of these strong promos with whoever he is given the mic for, like whether it's CM Punk or, it's back to Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns now, Paul Heyman does not miss a beat, no matter how long he is gone for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
So we are live in Charleston, South Carolina. We start off with Rob Van Dam and CM Punk versus Test and Hardcore Holly. Off the bat, Steve, you can tell that these guys are really beaten up from the Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, RVD is bandaged up. Punk's got, I think, got like the wrap on his arm, and they were definitely feeling the effects from that match.
Yep, and Rob Van Dam cuts a small little mic promo saying that he thought it was BS that Sabu got taken out of the Elimination Chamber because Sabu was supposed to be in it, but he got attacked backstage, and Hardcore Holly took his place. So he dedicates this match to Sabu. A Hurricanrana to Hardcore Holly, a split-legged moonsault by RVD. Then Test beats up RVD on the outside. And then Test is basically giving RVD a beat down, a spinning heel kick to Hardcore. And then CM Punk comes in. And a kind of like script to Hardcore Holly. But then the Riot Squad, Paul Heyman's personal security, the guys with, the mask and the riot gear and the nightsticks, they come out. That is also the Basham brothers. That is Doug and Danny Basham under those helmets, Steve. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere that's who it was.
I don't know why they decided to take that gig. But yeah, so then the Riot Squad beats up Punk, and then actually Sabu comes down to the ring. He cleans house. RVD hits a frog splash on the Riot Squad, and then a face buster by Sabu. So RVD and CM Punk win by disqualification. I gave it a star and a quarter, Steve. I liked it, but they got to have clear finishes. I feel like we've been seeing DQ after DQ after DQ, and we need to have clear winners here.
Yeah, I agree. I went a star and a half. I thought it was building up to what could have been a nice little match here, but yeah, then the Riot Squad gets involved, and it's funny because it's almost like this is the antithesis of what the original ECW was, where there was no DQs at all during that with there, and here, like you said, it's so many of them. I gotta say though, kudos to Sabu for doing what he did, because he still had his arm in that sling, and he's still around, out there flying around and hitting that Arabian face buster. So, kudos to him on that one. But yeah, I mean, again, simple match, didn't go that long. I think it was just under 4 minutes, and yeah, really, I guess they wanted to protect Holly and Test a little bit more, but they could have gotten a little bit of a better way to do this.
And I do think also that, the guys were beaten up and they weren't going to go really that hard,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we were only a few days removed from that show, from the pay-per-view, so they obviously were still feeling the effects.
So now we have Daivari versus Tommy Dreamer. And again, it's all highlights from December to Dismember. And the Great Khali slammed Tommy Dreamer into the stage, or the ramp, and so Tommy Dreamer is just getting beaten down by the Great Khali and Daivari. He's been getting beat up by them for a little while now, and they had their little skirmish at December to Dismember, and now we're back with them again here on ECW. Daivari takes advantage of an injured Tommy Dreamer, because even Tommy comes all bandaged up and bruised too. So, basically, yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
I was about to say, well, when you get slammed onto a metal stage, you're gonna be feeling it for a few days.
Yep. So, Daivari just works on Tommy because he's taking advantage of the injury that Tommy has sustained. But then, Tommy Dreamer just comes back and DDTs Daivari for the win. I gave it a half a star. It wasn't really much of a match, it was just, okay, you take advantage of me, and then I'm going to make my comeback and DDT. Bada bing, bada boom. And Tommy gets the win. However, the Great Khali comes out and slams Tommy into a chair. So we're still continuing this feud. Hopefully down the line, we get Tommy Dreamer versus the Great Khali, because either that's going to be a squash or that's going to be a great match.
Yeah, I gave this a quarter star. This made zero sense. It's like you spent that you put Davari over at the pay-per-view, and then here you have him job in almost 90 seconds. It just made zero sense. And then you just have Khali destroy Tommy at the end anyway. It's like I don't know. It's to quote our good friend Tim Capel, what are we doing? Like seriously, what are we doing? Like, and if the whole goal of it was to eventually build to Dreamer and Khali at some point, that's fine. But why bother giving Davari that win at the pay-per-view when you're just going to job him on TV? Just job him here on TV. It made no sense.
Yeah, you got me on that one. So now we get a promo by the Big Show. Big Show's promo here was really good. He does have a point that it took Bobby Lashley and 4 other men in the Elimination Chamber to beat the Big Show. And he states that Bobby Lashley cannot beat the Big Show one-on-one. So we're going to find out what happens tonight in our main event. I kind of like this promo a little bit better than Paul's promo.
I agree. Yeah, I think Big Show, even though he's kind of probably in the same mindset that he's just ready to go, he knows what he's going to do, and that's to get Lashley over. Although I do have to poke a hole in his logic here that he said it took 5 guys to essentially beat him at the pay-per-view to finally get the title off him. But if you watch the match, he doesn't get in the match until only Lashley's left. So technically Lashley did defeat him one-on-one. So a little kind of a lack of kind of the old if you're not thinking, unless you're really thinking about it, you don't, you kind of realize, wait a minute, he actually doesn't make a lot of sense here. But I get the point he was trying to get across. He's been this dominant champion for so long, and it took, this insane structure to finally take him down. And now we'll see if Lashley can beat him one-on-one. Because I think one thing we didn't mention was in Paul's promo was that in their match, weapons will not be allowed, so it'll be a straight one-on-one match. And I think that was also the point Big Show was trying to get across, is that in a straight-up one-on-one match, Lashley can't beat him.
Yes, very good point as well, Steve, that in a straight man-to-man one-on-one, can't use weapons, and, you can get counted out. Can Bobby Lashley overcome the Big Show, mano a mano? And that's what we're going to find out tonight. However, before we get to that match, we have a Divas contest. And again, we're showing highlights from the pay-per-view, how Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly were in a tag team match against Ariel and Kevin Thorne. And Mike Knox walked out of Kelly Kelly during the match, and Ariel just went off and picks up the win, makes Kelly submit, picks up the win against her. And so Kevin Thorne and Ariel win at December 2 Dismember. Kelly Kelly is crying here. And Steve, I have to ask you, do you think she's crying because she's scared of Ariel, or she's crying because she cannot do this and cannot wrestle?
Probably a little bit of both. Also, probably still feeling betrayed by Knox. So it's just all these emotions overflowing from her. Just yeah, that's really all I can say.
My gosh, this is terrible. Ariel beats on Kelly Kelly, and then Kelly gets a surprise pin. Roll up. I went a dud because this is one of those that makes no sense, but it just leads to the climatic finish of Mike Knox versus Kelly. So this is a dud because Kelly Kelly is not a wrestler. She's an exhibitionist or a dancer, or however you want to put it, Steve.
Yeah, I went I with you. I went that as well. First off though, Ariel Hachimachi, man, I always thought she was one of the hottest things divas they've had. It's kind of a shame they didn't do more with her. I thought she had a lot of potential, and yeah, just again, what are we doing? They put Ariel over Kelly at the pay-per-view that Kelly can't win, after Knox walks out, but then here she's able to surprise her in less than a minute. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. So this is just bad.
It's bad. I think it was just to get this out of the way because it was more about what happens afterwards.
Yeah, so after Kelly gets the pin on Ariel, Mike Knox comes out with flowers and asks Kelly to forgive him. And then, Mike just goes, "Oh man, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm dumping you. You don't deserve." Mike is saying that a woman like Kelly does not deserve a man like Mike. So Kelly gets dumped on live national television, and she's saying, like, he's like, "Oh, I'm your biggest fan, and I loved you, and you didn't support me." So all this love nonsense of that Mike is the victim, but really it's Kelly, and Mike throws the flowers at her, and then out of nowhere gives her a swinging neck breaker. Did you expect that to happen, Steve?
No, what a jerk he is. I mean, coming out, with the, like you said, with the suit and the roses, make it seem like everything's gonna be okay. Although I do have to say, Kelly, I don't, and this is not a knock on her, the fact that she's a blonde, but maybe she should have been a little smarter than this to just to take him right back. But yeah, then it's like he insults her, and then throwing the flower, hitting her with the flowers is one thing, but then actually giving her that neck breaker, which I don't think I don't think he had a name for it, but if those that watch it, it's the move that eventually becomes Sister Abigail that Bray Wyatt used to do, and. I mean, do we not get enough? Did they not, learn their lesson from the fact that they got called, got shit for when Sandman hit her in hit her in the head with a cane? I mean, let's not forget this girl is 19 years old, and now she's
so, yes.
Now she's taking taking this move from Mike Knox, who's not not probably the safest guy on their roster. And what made it even weirder was of all people, Taz jumped in to help out Kelly. I don't know if they were planning something with like Knox and Taz. I mean, that I don't know. I fathom to think what that match would have been like, but it just seemed kind of weird. Of all people, Taz would be the one to kind of check on Kelly, make sure she was okay.
Gosh, I wish we got Taz versus Mike Knox. Taz being the ECW veteran against the most greenest of green professional wrestlers.
Ugh, I shudder to think.
Yeah, I know. Taz isn't Mike wouldn't be the safest guy to work with against Taz with all of Taz's injuries too.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, Taz retired. So now it's time, Steve, for the main event of the night. It is for the ECW title. It is the Big Show versus Bobby Lashley. Lashley starts unloading on the Big Show until the Big Show gets an elbow in. Big Show starts giving a bear hug to Lashley. Lashley tries to slam the Big Show, but Big Show falls on him. Big Show is basically just dominating Lashley. Lashley gives him a shoulder tackle, takes out Big Show's knees, and then Big Show gives Lashley a big clothesline, a suplex to Lashley, another shoulder tackle by Lashley off the top of the turnbuckle. So he gets on the turnbuckle and he jumps off and does the big shoulder tackle there. Lashley gets choke slam, but he kicks out. And then Lashley slams Big Show, but this is like where like it seemed a little bit botched, because he couldn't lift him up all the way. So it seemed a little botched here the first time. And he only gets a 2 count. The Big Show kicks out. But then Lashley again, he body slams the Big Show for the pin for the 1, 2, 3. So your winner and still ECW champion is Bobby Lashley. So Steve, did you see the first time he slams Big Show that he couldn't get him up all the way?
Yeah, he definitely you could tell he's either like, picked him up too fast or what, or he just lost his grip on him, but give him credit, he kept him at least somewhat, protected him, drop him on his head a la, Kevin Nash sold out 98.
Yeah, so at least Bobby learned how to protect Big Show from getting hurt. I went a star in 3/4, Steve. I like the dominant performance of Bobby here, and the Big Show too. If I believe if this is Big Show's swan song, he did go out putting over Bobby Lashley cleanly by letting Bobby lift him up and slamming him for the pin. So I went a star in 3/4.
So when I saw the runtime for the match, I was like, oh my god, because I was like dreading it. It's like 17 minutes of this, and I was not looking forward to it. But to be honest, I actually, maybe it was the mood I was in, but I actually really enjoyed the match. I actually gave it 2 3/4. I like the story it told. Big Show using his size and his strength to beat Lashley down. Lashley kept, chopping away at him, trying to, knock him down, finally, he does. And like you said, pulls off those slams, which, botched or not, that's still, great, impressive showing of strength there by Lashley to, pick up 500 pounds or probably even more. Cause I mean, this is probably, Big Show was probably at his heaviest at this point in his career. And, Lashley picking him up like that is no small feat. So I think, the crowd was into it. They were really behind Lashley. And like you said, if this is the last we see of the Big Show, he went out, on a high note, put over Lashley strong, and it kind of caps off what was, you could argue was Big Show's, best year in the company. He's been there since 99. It's always, been kind of told about how he was, his booking and how he's never looked really dominant for any period of time. But from the time he won the title back in July till the Chamber and then now, he's looked amazing, considering how physically, out of shape he was and how, when you just look at him, he looks like he's, near death at times, but he pulled it together and put on some really good stuff. So, kudos to him. And I think, this was definitely kind of the final, like I said, I said how the Chamber was kind of like the final nail in the coffin for the original ECW, but this more so because, Paul's gone. Big Show's now gone, probably going to be gone. Lashley's now the champion, and you can tell that they are definitely headed in a new direction going into to 2007.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, if this is Big Show's last match in WWE for now, he did a really great job putting over Bobby. All right, Steve. Well, why don't we dive into our next episode? This is ECW December 16th, 2006. We're live in Boston, Massachusetts tonight. And this wasn't on a Tuesday on Sci-Fi. This was on a Saturday night on the Sci-Fi channel, 8:00 on Saturday night. Not the best time, do you think, for ECW on a Saturday night?
It was interesting. But I know they were around the time, this was, late December. They were probably getting into their Christmas, scheduling. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if something was like going on that Tuesday on Sci-Fi, but they moved it here to Saturday, but it was definitely kind of cool to see it on a Saturday.
Yeah, like if you had nothing to do, you couldn't go out watch wrestling on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
So we do get a recap of the Big Show versus Bobby Lashley for the ECW title from last week. And I believe, last week was Big Show, Paul White's last match in the WWE. I don't know what you heard about it, Steve, but I heard like conflicting reports that, again, it felt like Big Show was in the doghouse like he was in summer of 2000, where he needed to lose weight and he just flat out refused. And that's when he goes to OVW and comes back in the Royal Rumble 2001. And even Undertaker was like pissed off him at before SummerSlam 2000, and that was like a nail in the coffin for Big Show's 2000 run because he doesn't come back until the Royal Rumble 2001. Here, he does look out of shape. He's 450 pounds, give or take. He looks bad. Like he looks bad here. Like he said he had back issues and all, but I do think it was the weight problem. And he's gone until No Way Out 2008.
Yeah, I don't think this is similar to 2000 where he was being punished. I think he was at that point where he just kind of realized, I need to get off the road. I need to get myself, healthy. Otherwise, I'm not going to be long for this world. Because I think I remember they actually offered him a new contract and he had to decline it because, he just cared about his health. And because the rumors around that time was he was being considered for Mania that year. And there were rumors like it was going to be him and Hogan or him and somebody else. But I think he just kind of saw where he was at that point in his life and was just like, I just gotta step away for a bit, because when we see him come back, in 2008, he looks fantastic. I mean, he, dropped all that weight. He, that was when it was during that time he took up boxing and he looked great. And as we talk now, it's 2022 and, he's still going at some capacity, not on a full-time basis in AEW, but at least in a part-time basis. So I think he made the right decision to step away at this point.
Yeah, I heard that rumor as well, that it might have been the Battle of the Billionaires. Like the original idea was Hulk Hogan in Donald Trump's corner and the Big Show in Vince McMahon's corner. That would have been really insane, but like a really great match. I mean, I don't know how Hogan was in 2007, but I think Hogan at WrestleMania 23 would have blown the roof off too, because the fans were still behind Hogan.
Right, and it would have made sense because obviously since that show was going to be in Detroit and it was 20 years since WrestleMania 3, it would have tied into Hogan and Andre.
Yeah, well, what could have been,
and it would have also made sense with Big Show, because if you obviously remember in '95 when he debuted as the Giant, they pushed him as Andre's son. So
yeah,
it all ties together.
All these ties, yeah. I actually met the Big Show in 2022 at WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend. I had to compromise. I was like, Big Show's here. I'll go say hi and get a picture with him. So he was a really nice guy, and I talked to him about how he was told when he was going to win the WWE title. He said, I found out that day, they told me you're winning tonight. I was like, what? They go, yeah, you're going to win the title. It's like, okay. And Austin got hit by a car.
Right.
I feel like everyone says that. It's like he probably knew a week beforehand, but maybe he didn't. But, so Big Show's still looking good after all these years. So the Big Show is gone, and we are moving. It seems like we're moving into a new direction. So let's see how this ECW goes, because there's no Paul Heyman and there's no Big Show here either. We kick off with Rob Van Dam versus Test. They Test and RVD, they go on offense on each other. A standing moonsault by RVD, a diving somersault onto Test onto the outside, then a diving leg drop onto Test. Van Dam goes to the top, but is pushed off by Test. So they cut to a commercial, and then when they come back from the commercial, Test is dominating RVD. But then RVD kicks Test in the face. Test clotheslines RVD for a 2 count. A diving sidekick to Test, diving sidekick and a rolling thunder to Test for a 2 count. Rob Van Dam misses the 5-star frog splash, and then Test steals the win by putting his he rolls him up and then he puts his hands on the rope. So, a good heel tactic, but a dirty pin by Test here. I went 1.5 stars, Steve. I liked the match. Test looks really good here, whether he's on the juice or otherwise. He looked good here against RVD. I just didn't like the finish. It's a roll-up victory. Hit him with the big boot. I mean, he missed the 5-star frog splash, hit the boot, and then pin him. Don't cheat. Say that you're dominant as well. But I guess they need a good heel tactic.
Yeah, I went 2 stars on it. I thought it was a solid effort for both guys. Both RVD got to obviously show off his moves. Test seems like they're getting ready for him to potentially be the next challenger for Lashley. I didn't have as much of an issue with the finish as you did. I get why they, again, tried to keep RVD a little bit strong, because I think they may have had him in mind as well to maybe get a chance here at Lashley, since he's technically still never had his one-on-one rematch for the ECW title. But I do think it was better that Test did win, because, like I said, it seems like with Lashley as the champion, they need somebody who's going to be a big, strong heel contender, and he seems like the guy right now. When you just look at the roster of heels they have, I don't think they're going to go with Holly at this point, and none of the other heels on there seem like they're ready for a title match with Lashley. So I think Test is probably your best option right now.
Yeah, it's either Test, Hardcore, it's Kevin Thorne, and it's also it's like Matt Striker and the Great Khali, and Daivari. Those seem like your ECW heels, but I could have seen Great Khali be a good thing for Lashley too. That could have been a great match for another challenge for Bobby as well.
It could have. I mean, except for looks like they're just kind of keeping them as Daivari's muscle.
Yeah, but So Test seems to be like the strong heel, the go-to heel for Lashley. So let's keep an eye on Test and see how this one goes, and let's see where they go from here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we have. We do have, yes. Yep. We have Matt Striker out, and he calls. So Matt Striker basically calls. Matt Striker comes out with the school, with the classroom scene. He calls Boston the revolutionary city. He brings up history, how in Boston, they dumped the tea with the British, and they went on a revolution against the British. But then he's like, what happened to the city? It's become a disgrace now. You can't win championships. He mentions all of Boston's losers, and the Bill Buckner incident. And, speaking of balls, he calls out Balls Mahoney. And he just starts calling, Balls Mahoney stupid by using, big words and everything. And then Balls Mahoney clotheslines Matt Striker, but then Matt Striker low blows him. So what I learned, Steve, is that it seems like for every ECW show, there's always one angle that goes away for a week. So it's like last week we focused on the Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly thing. And then we switched it this week with, instead of Kelly Kelly and Mike Knox, because, Kelly's in the hospital with whiplash, they go with bringing back from December to Dismember with no buildup at all, Matt Striker and Balls Mahoney feud.
Yeah, this was very kind of weird. I mean, I like how fun. It's always kind of cool seeing when a heel runs down the home team, the home crowd. So obviously get some good shots in there on Boston and some of their big names. And yeah, it's like so weird that this feud's still brewing between these two, because they had their match at December to Dismember, which was, which Stryker tried to, force Balls to play by the rules, but then Balls beats him anyway when Stryker probably should have won. And then they, scrap here. At least Stryker got the better of him by giving him that low blow. But it just seems really weird with, that they keep this feud going, and you're not sure where it's what the end game for it is.
Another thing as well, Steve, is that either for these ECW shows, you either have a bad opening, a bad card altogether, but a great main event, or you have a great card all the way, and then you have a bad main event. So Mike is sort of right here, because, I feel like for this card, it goes down a little bit, like it was great with RVD and Test, and then we get the Matt Striker thing. So let's see how the rest of this card pans out for tonight. Because up next we have CM Punk versus Hardcore Holly. So they're keeping up with some feuds from the Elimination Chamber. They're matching everyone who was involved in the chamber at one point or another. We have an arm drag and round kick to Holly, a swinging neck breaker by Punk, the running knee and the bulldog by Punk, but it's only for a 2 count. And then, so basically Hardcore Holly just starts beating up Punk, and then he gets himself disqualified because Hardcore doesn't let go by the count of 5, and then just starts beating on CM Punk. But then Punk gets Holly into kind of vice grip for the tap out, but CM Punk already wins by disqualification. Steve, what did you think? What did you give the match?
So I give the match a 1.25 stars. I thought this was an interesting kind of feud here, because I know a lot of people, the Punk fans out there are probably thinking, "Oh God, not Holly," because of they probably of Holly's reputation at the time. But I think he and Punk actually had some pretty decent chemistry. I thought the match was building well, but again, just the decision made no sense. It's like, why can't Punk just get a clean win, especially if after the bell he gets in the tap out anyway? It just made no sense. I mean, at this point, Holly, doesn't need protecting. He can, he's the kind of guy that, should be putting guys like Punk over, strong. So unless, again, they're just building to something else between these two, it just a weird decision.
Yeah. So I gave this a star. I liked that I thought they were going to have, 2 stiff guys going against each other. But then it's like the finish just seems out of nowhere, and it's a disqualification, seems out of rushed. And we don't have the GTS yet, we don't have to go to sleep, so Punk really just has the Anaconda vice grip, maybe if Punk hadn't had a submission move and he had a straight up finisher as well, things might be different. But the Anaconda Vice Grip has been doing itself wonders, but I was a little bit disappointed with the finish as well. And now we get Tommy Dreamer. He calls out the Great Khali, but again, it's Daivari answering the challenge, and Daivari hits Tommy Dreamer with the mic. Great Khali hits Tommy from behind, but that doesn't do anything. And then Tommy Dreamer just DDTs Daivari for the win. I gave it a dud, Steve.
Same dud. Again, what are we doing? 2 weeks in a row now, Dreamer gets the better of Daivari in a quick win, and it just gets destroyed by Khali. At least they had the foresight to have Dreamer, challenge Khali at this point. So it seems like, again, that's probably what they're going to be building to, is the inevitable showdown between the two of them. But again, I think at this point, if they had anything for Daivari, they just completely killed it now with both him getting jobbed 2 weeks in a row now in less than 3 minutes after they put him over Dreamer at the pay-per-view.
Yep. And so hopefully either Tommy gets new material or we get new changes, because I'm tired of seeing Tommy Dreamer versus Daivari, and then the Great Khali comes out and beats him up. Put him in an Extreme Rules match. Maybe they need that. If Khali can go and get himself extreme.
Yeah, it's something. Even if you just have it be a quick match, do something. Anything.
Yeah, I mean, even if Tommy gets squashed to put over Great Khali, Tommy's a fair game player, and he knows what's right. And if trying to get Great Khali over in ECW is right, Tommy's the guy to do it.
Yeah, he's been doing it his whole career pretty much.
Yeah. And our main event for the evening, Steve, it is. I didn't know if you caught it. Was the ECW title on the line here?
I believe this was non-title.
Okay, but it is Bobby Lashley versus Paul Heyman's personal security. So the remnants of Paul Heyman still being here are alive and well, as the Riot Squad literally just get their butts kicked by Lashley. They hit him with a nightstick, but that doesn't really do anything, because Bobby Lashley just comes back and puts on a dominating performance. You see a Dominator and a bunch of spears. I want to give it a quarter star. That's only because of Bobby's performance. This match has no business being in the ring. If it's a squash match, it's a squash match, but it was a great way to send the fans home, with Bobby's dominating performance. And the fans wanted to see Bobby. They saw Bobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gave it 3/4 of a star. Pretty much, again, just putting the final nail to Paul Heyman by having his goons here get wiped out by Lashley. I mean, again, like you said, this was pretty much, they got a few shots in, but they put over Lashley strong. He takes both of them out with fairly ease, and I think this is it for them. I think they're gone by the beginning of next year, and then they're
the Fashion Brothers.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing much. I think they may have made like 1 or 2 appearances with TNA, but then that's pretty much it for them, which is kind of unfortunate, because they were a decent tag team, and at a time when they probably needed tag teams during that mid-2000s period, they could have been a good pair of hands. But at this point, I think they've unfortunately outlived their usefulness.
Yeah, in 2003 and 2004 they had really good runs, and then late 2004 and 05, it seemed like their run was done there, because the whole cabinet was JBL's cabinet was falling apart. But they were good for the cabinet. I love the whole heel tactic of the switches. That's how they won the title. and Shaniqua being their manager too was fun. She would hit him with the whip, but but I like the whole switching part too. It was a great tag team tactic. So they did a good job putting Bobby over. Well, Steve, surprisingly enough, we have only one more show of 2006 next time, and we will be in 2007 as well on next time's show. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of Extreme Resurrection. But before we go, Steve, do you have anything that you want to promote or direct the listeners to?
Yeah, so like you mentioned, I can usually be found over on the PTB and Pop Experience. I have a few shows over there. I have Pop Goes to Classics, where myself, Andy Atherton, and Miranda Berthold are going through all the Disney animated films. We are headstrong into the Disney Renaissance. Our most recent episode, we did Aladdin. And next, of course, will be The Lion King as we complete that great trifecta of the films, including Beauty and the Beast, arguably the three greatest films that they've ever done. I also, of course, have Making Mount Rushmore, where me and a different panel discuss various topics. And also, we have a new show debuting that's already have debuted, depending on when this drops over there. It's the PTPN Video Jukebox Song of the Day, where we basically live watch a music video and talk about it. So kind of similar to what the guys over at the North-South Connection were doing when they were going through all the big WWE pay-per-view and TV matches. So look for me there. I've got some episodes coming down the pike, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And speaking of the North-South Connection, I made my way over there also for a few episodes. I was on a recent edition of Ruthlessly Aggressive with Jake, where we discussed the Raw and SmackDown after the 2003 Royal Rumble. So we are knee-deep into beginning the road to WrestleMania. A lot of fun looking back on that. And I made my debut on the Jenny position finally, where me and Jennifer Smith on You Heard About Pluto watched the Comedy Central channel, and which included a pair of classic season 1 episodes of South Park. So a lot of great stuff there. Yeah, it was fun, especially since I think since Jenny had not seen those either ever or not recently. So that was a lot of fun to look back at. So obviously, like I said, that's all fun, and make sure you guys check out everything on all the feeds, the Pop feed, North-South Connection with the Jenny position, and here on the wrestling feed. You can usually find me on the PTBN Facebook page. A lot of great discussions over there. Hopefully our next tournament should be starting up soon. It's going to be a fun one. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, check out everything that the Place to Be has to offer on our quad of pods. As Steve mentioned on Making Mount Rushmore, he's the Making Mount Rushmore Pop edition host. I was on the last episode where we did Disney princesses and villains, and it was along with me, Kyle Lemke, and Chad Campbell. We discussed our favorite Disney princesses and Disney villains. And that was a really great topic. Those are two great topics, Steve. I really enjoyed that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always great to talk to talk Disney. Like I said, there's plenty of topics surrounding Disney that you can do. So I'm hoping to do that again on a future episode.
Yeah, well, from Steve Riddle and myself, James Gruenberg, this has been another great edition of Extreme Resurrection. Stay extreme, and we will see you next time.
I heard you've been looking for me, but you look for trouble. You're gonna see that your words are dangerous, your talk is cheap. So now I'm standing here. You tell yourself you know what to do when you realize that I am coming for you. Then you'll change your mind and run like a child when you see me standing here. Now I'm standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside. Still standing here. I'm standing here. Still standing here. Don't question my heart. Don't question the fire that burns inside. Don't question my heart. Don't question